So hi guys, thank you for coming. So today we're gonna talk about building communities with gamified experiences. So today with us we have Jyro from PlayFi, Anjali from Collab and Jack from Skale. And guys, could you present yourself, present your project, and then we'll continue together.
Yeah, so I'm Jyro from PlayFi. I'm the product lead. And at PlayFi, we're focused on solving the availability of data. So right now there's a lot of data that gets created every day. So you can think like live stream content, video game footage, sports news, and a lot of that is just lost because it's in these very hard to use and indexed video files. So you think like, a streamer plays 4 hours of Fortnite, that's saved as like a video on demand on Twitch, but that's it. It just kind of lives on Twitch. And if somebody wants to access it, they need to go watch a 4-hour video. So what we have is we have AI agents that run our decentralized network. They watch that video for you. So they come in and they say like, okay, I know that this is a game of Counter-Strike. I know what Counter-Strike looks like. I know what the player names are, where the score is, what map we're on. We take that and we store it on our decentralized network in a nice JSON file. So it's super easy to index, super easy to access. And then we make that data available to anyone that wants to use it. We have our own layer 2 that we're building on top of Ethereum, but we're also work with a lot of different partner blockchains that essentially we build oracles on their chains, and then they can access all that rich real-time content as well. And so yeah, we're just focused on making data available and working with lots of partners to do it.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anjali Young. I am the co-founder and chief community officer for Collab. Collab is a crypto community management system that uses tokens or on-chain data to provide access in Telegram groups, Discord servers, or in different apps that want to connect and use that. So we have APIs as well. May was our 4-year anniversary, and right now we're at about 50,000 communities that use Collab and have well over 13 million wallets connected. We support 37 different blockchains and about 30 different wallets, and then Wallet Connect, which has about 25 different wallets.
Hi, I'm Jack O'Halloran, CEO, co-founder of Skale. Skale is what I like to call a mass adoption blockchain. Okay, so it's currently in the top 5 almost every single day in terms of unique active wallets and transaction volume. We're very, very focused on gaming. Skale is a gas-free blockchain as well. So gas-free is built in all the way down to the protocol and consensus level. So players and users don't have to go buy Skale tokens and pay for each transaction. Developers are subsidizing the cost by renting chain space, utilizing the Skale token. So excited to talk about this topic today.
Thank you, guys. So today, I would love to have your definition about community. What do you think community is? And because we are talking about users, and most of the time we are this kind of panel, we are talking about product, blockchain, and everything. But here we see that you told the world, the 3 of you, data. So data, user, and how it's frictionless. You build on top, you are the infrastructure, and you help people to be onboarding, but frictionless. So how do you think community is in Web3? And do you think the community in Web3 is different from a Web2 one? Or yeah,
I'm going to just start. I'll try to keep it short. I come from Web2 communities. I was an admin of a 60,000 person Facebook group for many, many years, transracial adoption. And I've also admin and modded many homeschooling groups and attachment therapy groups, lots of online work I did for free when I was a caregiver and pretty much at home with my children, homeschooling them. But the big difference between Web3 communities and Web2 communities from a mod and an admin perspective is that you don't have to worry about trolls as much, because in order to get into these token gated spaces, you have to have the token. So if somebody has a token, they already have skin in the game. They're already invested in some point. And to answer your first question about how do you describe community, it would be where we are focusing our attention. Any group, any space where people are sharing attention, focusing all their attention, is a community. It could be on Twitter, it can be an IRL space, it could be on Telegram, which it really is the most growing right now is Telegram, mainly because of meme coins and all of the groups that start around meme coins. So that's where the attention is focused. So that's a community right there.
Yeah, great. I agree with that entirely. And also just to add to that, I think the strength and weakness of Web3 communities are tokens, okay? It's like this financial impact. And we talk about gamifying communities. Well, gamification is built into every single token in a number of ways. And even at the validator level, right? They're gamified to operate honestly and accurately and with high performance, and you get staking rewards, right? And so it's part of the system. So it's a strength because there's a clear alignment amongst all of these people, but it's also a weakness because that can call out some really bad things from a human nature perspective. You call upon some of these like base values, and you get this greed and anger and like excitement and disappointment. And so I think the key is to try to harness that in a positive way and use that token to align people back to the utility and the why. And if it's a game, like, what are we doing? What are we playing here? We're not just clicking a button to make money. We're doing something as a group. And so anyways, it's an interesting topic.
I think community for me is a shared sense of identity. So my original background is in game development. So I worked in Web2 gaming for about 15 years professionally. I've also been in Web3 since about 2014. So I've been in those spaces separately, but consistently for both of those times. And the real consistency that I've seen between those two and just like any community spaces I'm in is that shared identity of we're here for this particular purpose. And it's cool because people don't usually just belong to one community. They belong to many different communities. They might be a part of one community on Facebook. They might be a part of a different Web3 community. They might be part of their local community. They might be an activist in a particular organization. And so community is this kind of very flexible idea, and people come and go through different communities, and that really helps shape what those communities look like. And so with Web3 communities, it's really interesting because, both the other panelists spoke about what the difference is in terms of like, there's a bit more anonymity, but a bit more investments, but also like the spaces are different. It's Telegram versus maybe your local town hall. And I think Web3 community is also very tools focused, which is awesome. It's really cool because we have a lot of ways that enable people to participate, be engaged, and be active, which is something that sometimes traditional communities struggle with. If you're making an indie video game, it's often hard to say like, hey, let's get everybody really engaged and active and activated and motivated, when there isn't necessarily something to do quite yet. And so, communities are all about just those shared spaces, shared identities, and what we can do not only as individuals in that space, but collectively as a community. How can we affect the spaces and systems that we care about?
Well, one of the things you just mentioned is like, how do you get people activated, or that there is an opportunity to activate people within Web3? And absolutely, as far as identity is concerned, but also reputation building. Like, what tokens have you held? How long have you held them? What POAPs do you have? Has someone ever transacted with you? Have you transacted on DEXs? It's like, there's all of this on-chain reputation. And that's a real, like, for me before I was working and before I was doing Collab, like I said, I was working for free in a lot of these projects, being a mod, being an admin, and I have nothing to show for it. And the one thing we have here is an on-chain reputation, which makes Web3 amazing, because in the same way it's permissionless and there's no gatekeeper for money, there's also no more gatekeeper for reputation or your online resume.
No, totally. And I wanted to play around with the fact that you said skin in the game, and game now, like, they all have skins, And the thing is like, when you play CSGO, when you play Overwatch, when you play something and after you forget it, you spend a lot of money and you don't have anything to show. It's like a proof of gaming, a proof of anything. So the thing is like, why I want to bring that up is the fact that we are talking about acquisition. But the thing is like tokens, meme coins, and everything, Scale or Collab or PlayFi, you have acquisition at the beginning. People are coming for something, but how do you create gamified experiences? How do you create something for people to stay, And because you are all on the same kind of, you are all different part of the same funnel, And I would love to have your point of view on that and how you can build together, or you think that something are changing and everything. So maybe Jack?
Yeah, I'll take first cut here. So thankfully in the gaming space, and Scale works with, I think we have 80 games right now, and I think over 120 signed up in the ecosystem, but over 250 projects. So there's also Web3 AI communities, there's DPIN communities, there's decentralized social projects, there's enterprise, all these different, you name it, DeFi, et cetera. Now gaming's very unique because it's all a game. And so even down to the game loops, like there are game loops that are meant to get people engaged and doing things again and again and going to the next level. And so I look at gaming and I'm like, okay, we got that. It's like built in. It's like, what's next? But what I would say is non-game communities could learn so much from gaming communities and games. And so I think there's really amazing products that are launching that are like, hey, do this for the community, post this, get engaged. And you kind of can almost keep these scores and take these lessons we learned in gaming that are just innately part of the
Leaderboards, right?
Yeah,
Leaderboards.
yeah, these
My
things,
God. They're like the hypiest, most fun thing. Everyone loves a leaderboard, and that totally comes from gaming.
Yeah, great example. So I think, I would love to hear both your perspectives on this, but it's, I look at gaming and I'm like, okay, we'll take some notes and share that with the non-gaming folks.
I bring a lot of the lessons that I've learned from indie game development into my Web3 work. And I think the biggest lesson about community specifically and building it and retaining it is that there has to be a sense that their participation matters in the product that's being created. So small indie games, they don't have the luxury of building in a silo. They can't be Nintendo and just hide over in their offices for 3 years and then release a Zelda game and hope everybody likes it, right? They need the community for playtesting, for feedback, for iteration, for, being these evangelists and speaking on behalf of the organization, the game, and promotion, creating memes, creating fan art, right? All these things are core to these small indie games being successful. And they're things that are core to Web3 spaces being successful as well. We all want communities that are active and engaged and motivated to go out and talk about how cool what we're doing is and how they feel personally invested and involved. And I think we spoke, meme coins have been mentioned a few times. Regardless of your feelings on meme coins, they are doing that better than anybody else. They are making people feel like I'm a part of this community. I'm a part of the Shiba Elon Rocket community or whatever it is, right? And they feel personally attached to it, and they feel like they have a lot of agency in that space to be, outspoken about it. And they feel like the devs are listening to them. The community sees them. And so I think a lot of the indie spaces do that well. And I think a lot of game spaces do that well. And I think Web3 spaces are just learning how to leverage how powerful an active community can be.
I love meme coins for lots of different reasons. But one of the reasons I love them is because it's so cheap to get in and it's so easy to get your friends onboarded. I can give you some Pepe. It's not such a big deal. I can give you some. And it's such a great way to share that identity. And with NFTs, last bull market, they were so expensive. And so how do you get in? And with this meme coin version right now, it's just a lot more fun.
Yeah, I kind of, that's been my macro view on meme coins. One hand, it's a little irritating. These things are like casinos, but then you see these phenomenal communities start, and it's because they're effectively more equitable NFT communities. There's an NFT community, there's 10,000 of these, and guess what? The floor is the floor. And, but a normal user doesn't know if it's an ERC 721 or not, or if there's actually image in the smart contract.
But they all have images now.
Yeah.
All the meme coins have an image.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They've
They see
taken
the
that
image
from the NFT days, and they all have
But
it.
is that image, does it need to be memorialized on chain forever? No, it's just there. It's on the centralized exchange. It's on the website.
Not either.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be, but it's definitely not immutably there in most instances. But yeah, and so that's it. But where I what I'd love to see in the meme community, this whole wave, is such a great opportunity to see people catalyze communities and do something with them. And I saw a lot of failed attempts in the NFT communities. There was just, and which is nice now. A lot of those communities are launching games, because the thing is, you need engagement. You need something to do, right? If you're a community, you don't just sit and just talk about your bags. That gets old.
So I said I've been in since 2014. I actually got my start writing for a Dogecoin magazine in 2014. It's called Very Much Wow. I wrote video game reviews, actually. I got paid in Dogecoin. And, it's funny because that was one of the original, of course, meme coins, right? And it was so community focused, and it wasn't at all monetary focused. And I think a lot of times, people get into meme coins because, they like the idea of a huge return, but that's not really why they're staying there and hanging out there, people often say, like, I'll look at my old Dogecoin wallets and, they would have had $500,000 in today's amount because I was getting paid $50 an article in 2014. And they're like, oh man, that must suck. And I'm like, well, no, because at the time I used it. I bought silly things from community members. I bought tea, I bought pens, I bought stickers. I tipped my friends. I tipped people what would be $500 in today's money and was 50 cents then. And it was so much fun and so much participation. And it really had that sense of like you said, it was also very accessible because I was able to get into it. I bought like a $50 little ASIC that I was mining stuff with and like was making my own Doge. So I felt very, again, involved and invested and very accessible. And it is really cool. And as you said, very playful, right? Like they're making games because they recognize that we're all inherently been playing these games all along. It's what was buying pens from this guy I bought online, but a very light, playful engagement. I don't need pens.
And I think that's something with like meme coins as well. And it's like what we said with gaming is like it's part of the culture. Like people, they see meme coins, they understand it totally. Like even if it's just an image, a fun thing and everything, it's very easy to onboard. And the thing is like each cycle has had his meme coin. Like we had Doge, then we had Shiba Inu, then now we have Bonk. And the thing is like it's staying and it's not for nothing, and I think that something is like we are saying because we are companies, it's like building communities with gamified experience. But now I think we need to change the title now and do like communities building gamified experiences, because the way that you are explaining everything is the fact you are providing something for them, but they do everything. And why NFTs didn't stay is like because you said it, people paid for something, they couldn't enter it, it created like a social value of awareness. And when the crash, like the market went down, people say, okay, my value is my NFT, not myself, But now with meme coins, like people are like in Telegram chat and they are with token gated with Collab, they connect at different games. Like even Bonk now, they are sponsoring in France like a football team, like an American football team. So their community is going to seeing matches together. They go to see anything together, and it's great. And to finish on that, and the fact that you are also talking about that data and that we are doing a loop. I'm part of Solana as well, and we did a presentation for the French Sovereign Fund about meme coins and data. In a way that I really think that if you analyze gaming, NFTs and everything, you can see a particular landscape of people. And if you see, like, for example, you had during the election in America, the Bowden and Tump tokens, I think you can see, okay, this is the evolution of these things. This is moving forward this. And because it's easy to transfer, people can use it and identify to this.
It's interesting you're talking about the American government, but like Trump is speaking at the Bitcoin conference next month. Or is it at the end of this month? I think it is. But it's like it started with these political meme coins, right? I remember I was talking to somebody in New York and I said, oh, are you doing any of this? Like, are you buying these political meme coins? He said, yeah, I just bought Ashley Bowden. It's Joe Biden's daughter. Joe Biden's daughter. So people are having so much fun with this. They're having so much fun with it. And it's like, crossing, right? Like you have dog with hat on Solana. It's like if you like a little dog with a little hat, and the story behind it, and I kind of wanted to come around to this, but it's like, it's the story, it's the lore. And in that way, it is gamified. And one of the things my co-founder often says is like Web3, it's like we used to go into games to play them, but with Web3, the game is coming out into the real world where it actually affects our real world bank accounts.
I mean, I think it's really easy to dismiss a lot of these, like meme coins and silly things. Like you look at it and you say, well, that's stupid. And it's like, yeah, we know. Like no one thinks this isn't stupid. That's fun, right? And I've always, and coming from games, like you can look at any video game and be like, well, that's pointless. Yeah, technically it is pointless, right? Like we don't need Fortnite, right? Like it's not a good we need. It's not a service that keeps us safe at night or anything, right? But it's important. It's something that people engage with. And Web3 ecosystems have done a really good job of distilling down some of those core elements of fun, right? Like when people, and I think it's often why so many Web3 games end up being pretty simple is, we want the next big AAA Call of Duty game to be on a blockchain or whatever, sure, if there's a good fit for it, great. But I think what we're finding is that the best fit are often these simple games, these games that like are very accessible, have very low barrier to entry, are very easy to play, or even just are the tokens themselves, like playing the game of investment or playing the game of community. And that has a real value to the people that are participating.
That's not accessible to everybody. Like in the US, I mean, maybe I had one stock that my dad gave me, but honestly, like, unless you're getting involved in it, like, you can't just be all like buying and selling and buying and selling.
And investment's a fun game to
It's
play.
a fun game. And so this is a fun game. I don't know. Did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, well, you just got me thinking. You gave me like a crazy thought. Do I have freedom to just go here? Okay. So what I was thinking about was like just hearing both your ideas. I'm like, I don't work, but as a hobby I have a wine business. Okay. So I'm involved in the wine industry a bit. And I talk to these people of these huge labels. They know a fraction about community building compared to people that work in crypto. Like I was listening to both of you. I'm like, these are like the masters, the PhDs of community. And it used to be gaming, and gaming's still great, but the community lessons we all learn, like we are, learning so much more than in any other space. And I talk to people who don't work in this space. I'm like, you got to do this, and you got to do this, and you got to do this. And they're like, what?
You're like, what's community?
But you have to, everything, you need to have every business, every brand, every label is built around like having a set of people that align around one similar value or product or vision or movement. And anyways, it's just like, it's really cool seeing us all learn, innovate, expand in the space.
And explaining that to brands, explaining that to big projects, which is something I often have to do, is really interesting because you have to tell them, like what you had said before, Erwan, about how like they're your marketers, or what you had said, Jyro, like they're your marketers. They're kind of a part-time employee. Like everyone's doing the same thing. They're making memes for you. They're like wearing the funny hat. They're putting the glasses on their PFP or the glass, like the mug, right? Like not financial advice, but like people put that on their picture on Twitter. It's like they're doing that advertising for you. And so it kind of is valuable.
Well, I think a lot of traditional brands have an otherness between themselves and their customers, right? It's like, we're the brand, we make the stuff, and you're the customer, you buy the stuff. And they look at their audience and they go, you're the addressable audience in this demographic, and I'll target you with these ads. And okay, but like with crypto audiences, like I don't treat my communities as an other, and it's something that I've taken from games and other creative spaces where like, I'm not just like, oh, it's you guys and I want to sell to you. It's us. Like we're all working on this, and I'm just as reliant on you for my success as you are on me for your success, because we're all mutually, emotionally, logistically, and financially invested in this. And that creates a real alignment between, the content creators or the developers and the consumers that I think like a wine brand often will have trouble doing unless they're also in the weeds saying like, yes, we're also wine drinkers. We're with you. We want a good product because we want to drink good wine too. But other brands are just kind of like, well, wine under $20 sells best at Costco. So it's very formulaic.
It like dies at the club membership. Club membership, and they send me wine 3 times a year. Right. You're under optimizing all the things you could do. Yeah. And you look at like crypto projects, like, we have thousands of people every day around the world that in some way, shape, or form do something for Skale. Whether they're a validator running a node, whether they're
willingly, because they want to.
Willingly, and they have they're all owners. Everyone can vote. Everyone's like a part of this, and it's amazing. And I look at like communities and I'm like, okay, how many people every day wake up? They don't have to do it full time, but they do something for this project. And I think the shining example of all of these is Ethereum. Scale's built on Ethereum. It's a layer 2-ish blockchain. We've been part of the Ethereum community since we've known each other forever. But I get every day, there are hundreds of thousands of people that do something for Ethereum.
Yes. That's right.
Again, willingly. They jump in and they're like, I want to do this. And again, because they know that what's good for Ethereum is good for them. They can be selfish, right? Like you get to let people be selfish for the public good. You say, do this work, it will benefit you and me. And they're like, awesome. I like things that benefit me and you. Like, that's awesome. Like I like doing that work.
And it is the game coming out, right? Like I try to onboard as many people in real life as I possibly can for Ethereum or for whatever. It's like it is us playing that game, which is what makes it fun, which is what we like to do as human beings. We like to be together. We like stories that excite us and give us an emotional reaction. And we like having fun. Like that's kind of what we're all doing. It's a very natural fit, I think, Web3 for gaming, because we're all kind of playing a game. And I think that's what makes it really exciting, because I don't know about the two of you, but like I definitely feel like a kid again in a lot of different ways working in Web3. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I never want to go back to enterprise software. I started my first company in 2008 and worked in enterprise B2B software. I mean, wearing suits, going into boardrooms, and I mean, hey, it's fun, but there's just, you know what, the creativity and we're unbounded. Every day you're innovating, you're trying to solve new problems and build things for people. And people, it's this mix of consumer and, kind of tech coming together and like kind of business tech, these worlds coming together, which is that's what gaming is, right? It's like, and I get to spend all this time in gaming now. One of my kids thinks I work, like just get to play video games all day. Cause anyways, we're lucky. We're very fortunate.
And I think something that is cool with Web3 is like it's like a big communities, but also a big community, but we all speak the same language. And the thing with gaming, why I think it's like one of the best vessels to onboard people, is like they understand things. And the new generation, like to the 2000-ish, people who were born in 2000, now they are beginning to be 2024, 25 and everything, which means they have money, they want to invest, they want to do something, and sometimes it's too expensive for them to enter in the community. If the price at the gate is too expensive, the friction is too expensive, they will not come. But with gaming, like you were saying, like with dev, with indie game and everything, you pay $15 and you can test a game. And now everything is changing. Before we are like games, then we had like DLC, then now you can just play a game for free and they get like skins and everything. And my nickname is Sorcier, is because I wrote an article and because I was like you always onboarding people. And for my friends, I said to them, is like we are the wizards and you have the muggles. But the muggles, they know how like a wizard wish things works, but they don't understand it, And they need to learn like new spells, like mint, NFT, swaps. You have schools. You have like even our like best sorcerer are called Satoshi Nakamoto or Vitalik Buterin, which is like very high stand wizards and everything. But this way, people think it's funny and they want to know more, I did a POAP for my grandma for Christmas.
Oh, nice.
Because she doesn't understand anything, but she understands like she has her face on the blockchain, I did law school and finance, and as you, I was like wearing a tie and everything, and people don't understand what I do. But if I show them a game, if I show them Collab land, when I do parties, I do POAP, and after I put all my, I do a token gated on Collab land, and I put all the photos inside a group blocked by the POAP. So the friction is less for them, just need to connect and they're entering something. And I think this is really where it is, like to onboard people with gaming, with blockchain, but speaking to them. And like, for example, what I love with you, Jack, is like the fact that you didn't use like very specified and complex word. Sometimes you have panels and people try to onboard people, and then we are speaking about I have zero knowledge and everything, and people don't understand anything. And what we want here, and it's like people who just like come now, they understand everything, they can just catch up on the conversation, and we want people to catch up on blockchain. So
I was going to say, one must go to Hogwarts before they can learn the ways.
Well, I was just thinking about my son, because you were talking about people born after 2000, and he was born in 2008, and he is a Minecraft person. So on the weekends or after school, he goes to the Minecraft server, he talks about, or like he goes to a Discord server, he talks about what project he wants to build. Other people join in, they all kind of divide up their tasks, and then they go to their own private server and they build a thing. Like that's what we're all doing together, like distributed teams, right? And they're already thinking in terms of like Robux, like, I don't know, I have kids, you have kids. Like they want you to buy it so they can spend it. Like there's no way all of this new generation is not going to be working remotely because they're already doing it, and they're not going to be using digital money. Like they're already using digital money. Like it's not a stretch.
And Mil, for example, when I explained that, so I think the world is changing, as like gamification will happen everywhere, And the thing is, like, you have people who were born before like 85, and a lot of them are not used to even a phone, like computer.
Stop! I was born in 74.
But, yeah, so. I know, but the thing is, like, there is like a percentage of you who are working now, in really high-paced tech and everything. Then you have people in between, like 85, 2000, and I did law and finance. Half of my friends, they are lawyers. They don't know anything about blockchain, they don't care, But the other half is like here, and they are all very into AI, blockchain. But the new generation, they are all used to work on the phone. They're all used to have even like a pseudonym. Like they're all on Twitter. They are all a dual identity. But we are saying dual identity, but it's not dual. It's like one identity which is merged. It's like it's them, you know. So sometimes my nickname is like Sorcier, and you didn't know me before, and I said, oh, I'm Erwan. Oh, Sorcier, and it's happening everywhere, every time, every day. And I think this is what is changing, you know. And I think to go back on what you said about brands, my theory is like we had UGC, so user-generated content, like Instagram, Reddit, and everything. But now I think we are entering the era of BUGC, which is brands as user/generating content. Why? Because they figured that on Roblox, on Fortnite, they can create things, and the market is already there. On Telegram, they can create community. The market is already there. And the fact that, for example, Roblox, they had IKEA build something on it, but it's not a collaboration. But because it's on Roblox, people think it's a collaboration. So as they are using all the marketing power of Roblox, and Fortnite is the same with Nike and everything. And I think this is why it's very interesting your project, because you are building on top and game are building on top of you, and everything is connected. But you can prove that with the data of blockchain, we have a proof of gamer, a proof of user, and I think I would have your thoughts on that.
Yeah, the reason at PlayFi that we chose to engage with a lot of like the live content and these emerging things is because I think that younger people especially have no patience for something that they can't participate in actively. They don't want to play a game that's necessarily just handed to them and that's all it is. They want to play a game where they can create their own stories with their friends. They can create their own worlds. They can build their own content. They can stream it. They can really craft it to be who they want to be, even going as far down as you said, like a lot of chosen identities. Like, you know, people go by a specific moniker or a handle, and that is who they are. It's who they are in game, and that reflects who they are in real life. And capturing a lot of that data and making it accessible and easy and smooth is something that I think blockchain actually was kind of awful at for a really long time, like Web3 technologies. I mean, there's a reason that I was in Web3 since 2014, but only started working in it professionally in the last 2 or 3 years. It's because it wasn't quite there yet. But now we're at the point where, you know, services like both of yours and hopefully what we're doing are letting people do the things that they actually care about with way less friction, right? Like people can play games without like thinking about gas fees. They can, you know, have these NFTs and they can just plug it into Discord, right? They click 2 buttons and like easy peasy, it's pretty set up. And for us, like we are also focused on user generated content. You know, we want people to be able to make their own tournaments without requiring Fortnite to make a tournament mode. They can make a tournament that just like watches the tournament results and like automatically updates and pays out and stuff like that. And I think that that's where Web3 technologies really have an awesome opportunity to shine. I don't think it's on direct integration necessarily with these systems. I don't, you know, people who say like, oh, eventually all Counter-Strike skins will be NFTs. No, they're just not. They're not. And Valve is not motivated to do that financially, logistically. They currently own the marketplaces. They own the NFTs. They own the player data. They own every transaction, and they're not going to give it up. But what if we can make cool stuff on top of that? What if we can make player identities and verifiability? What if we can make cool secondary marketplaces or other games that take in that same information? What if you can make stat tracking that tracks and all this, right? Secondary marketplaces are where I think Web3 has a huge opportunity in any of this live content.
You know, my son was playing a game called Critters a while back. That was a Minecraft game. And he said, it got too violent, Mom. So there you have the merging of like the adults that are like, these NFTs are worth $10,000 each. Beat it, kid. So I don't know if we're there yet with that merging of all the generations, but yeah, it's definitely there. Like doing that, building something on something that's already built, that makes the most sense.
I mean, many games are essentially just their own game engines and sandboxes. Like Roblox has been set up here, Fortnite, Minecraft. These are all things that let you build your own stuff, and people want to continue building their own stuff. And this is something that Web3 people care about. It's something that kids care about. It's something that people are just like, please let me do more with the games that I already have without relying on, you know, Riot to make more stuff for their game. They make it them fan art, everything.
Yeah. So, you know, I think I see this younger generation that we're talking about, this like always online community, always, you know, you see this come to life in meme coin communities and across gaming discords, across all of these, you know, you have 50,000 of these communities that you work with Collab, right? And I draw this back to like blockchain. One of the strengths of blockchain is that it can do a lot of things. One of the weaknesses is that it can do a lot of things. And so it's hard to like really capture what it does. And I think when I look at like this whole world, it's the, you know, it's not, okay, it's trustless, it's immutable, it's transparent, but there's just a value of systematized automation and like instant payments built around rules and structures. So that's where smart contracts come into play. Like, oh, you do this and this and this and this and this and this, and all of a sudden these systems start like flowing more seamlessly. And I think we're just still at the early onset of seeing kind of with communities, and like think of even games like Roblox, like systematized automation of value flowing through software and communities.
Oh, for sure. I mean, people, that's one thing we've learned in terms of trends. Like, people want to be able to transact within their communities. We saw it on Telegram with all the Telegram trading bots. Like, people want to do that. They see what your friends are doing. You want to trade with them. Maybe you have 10 different NFTs that you share together, or 20 different meme coins that you share together. You're going to trust them because they share your interest and your passion. So when they say the next one that they're interested in, then you're also going to join it. And so this concept of, like, again, taking the game out of the computer and bringing it out into real life, like, now we want to do it in community, and communities are asking to do it in community, having actual on-chain transactions within the community.
And they're brute forcing it at this point, right? Like you said, all these Telegram bots, they're
That's
just
right.
making it happen,
That's right.
regardless of whether anyone's letting them do it.
That's right.
This
That's
is totally
absolutely
what
true.
I wanted to say. The thing is, like, in gaming, like World of Warcraft or Dofus and everything, like, the thing is, like, if you wanted to do something and it was not allowed by the game, like sell something, do something, you could just
You
do
do
it
it anyway.
in a black market. Next buy, okay, I can buy this amount of gold, no problem, I will pay by card, you know. But here, the thing is, like, with Web3, we are allowing people to build on top, and everyone is happy. Like, they are having free marketing, they are having like fees from the transaction, sorry, and they are onboarding more gamers, and it's like, even for skins, you know, like now we have season pass, we have everything. So you will see someone with a skin on a video game say, I will never be able to have it, you know. But it's a proof of I played it before you. But sometimes it's like to maybe a signal of virtue, or like, oh, I did that. But with Web3, sometimes they can just build something on top, or they can do an event, they can do something different, and maybe they can even get acknowledged by the project. For example, I don't know, you do something on Minecraft, and Minecraft game on Web3 can give you a shout out. Oh, thank you for this builder. And so the guy work for, like you did for Facebook, like for groups, like for a big amount of time for free, and now he's getting recognition from everyone, and he's a proof of it, you know, just not a tweet.
You know what? Kind of brings up another topic around this whole like gamified experiences and gamified community development. Is you can program all of these actions and, like, oh, tweet this and you'll get 10 cents, or add a new community member, you'll get this referral, and like you can have this programmable money around your like growth, but it's a double-edged sword. So there's one blockchain in which I will not name the name, but they built this huge community by just giving all these people through this bot system, like, you know, 5 cents or 10 cents of their tokens just to do all these like small actions. And they built this massive like algorithm machine. But what happened is they built like a kind of a hollow community. And so I think one of the keys of community development is, like, as you're gamifying community growth, is you need to make sure you have those people that like are there for a reason, not just like the quick money. And I mean, you've probably dealt with that a lot in gaming, and you see it as well in your world with Collab.
It is definitely one of those things that, again, I'm trying to learn. So at PlayFi, we currently have an airdrop campaign going on. We'll have our token generation event later this year. And we're very mindful of that, because there are a lot of systems that are strictly, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with bots. I think they're great overall. And I think most communities value them, whether they're Telegram bots that are doing a service, or even just like bots that are just like doing activity on chains. Most on-chain activity is automated, right? It's not a human pressing a transaction. But when it comes to community building, 100% you're right, is that you don't just want a shallow, hollow community that's just there to farm an airdrop and then disappears. It is something that, you know, and it's something that definitely also comes up in games, and that you want people that are invested and not only just show up because they thought it was a cool article they saw on Kotaku, but are interested in the game and want to, you know, promote it with you and play test and build it out and then stick around afterwards and are your core players. So specifically what we're focused on is we're trying to create incentives that are community-led and community rewarded. And so, yes, you'll get 10 points for following us on Twitter, right? Cool. You'll get 5 points for retweeting us. Great. Of course, those nuts and bolts things are always important, and those are very bottable things, and that's okay. But we have these ideas of, we're calling them playmakers tentatively, but essentially these are our early community members that have proven trustworthy. They're active, they're engaged. When new people come in, they're helping these new people understand. When people have questions, they're like, here's the docs, here's the information. These generous and involved community members, we're going to be empowering to essentially help create more of these empowered.
And by the way, I'm not trying to say those things are bad, because they're actually a requirement in this world.
Yeah.
You know, in a world of tokenized everything, you've got to be kind of playing that way. But I like what you brought up there, and that you can do it in a way that still is authentic and creates like a strong inner core.
And you get to be responsive too. We had so we started doing some campaigns with like the questing campaigns, Galaxy D's Quest, those kind of things. And you know, those are simple, like do these actions and you can get entered to win 100 USDC or whatever, right? Just basic giveaways. For whatever reason, we found a big community in Indonesia, and I wouldn't have foreseen this. And I think it's also very important of not shoehorning yourself and your identity into what you're expecting. So they came into our Discord, and it was a large Indonesian community. And instead of like trying to struggle with it or like gate it or be overly policing or like fit it into what we wanted, we said, well, I guess we have a large Indonesian community now. How awesome, right? So we started up Indonesian channels, made sure there were automatic translation tools so other people could participate. And those communities have continued to grow, right? And so it's really cool that you also get to, through these Web3 technologies and just the internet in general, find these communities where they self-select, right? Like some person probably said, hey guys, we should all do this. And they told their friends and they told their friends. And now we have an active, engaged community. I don't know most of what they're saying all the time unless I check the translation logs, but our Indonesian chat is more busy than our general chat a lot of the time. And that's wonderful. Like, it's so exciting that they're here and they're doing it because they clearly like chatting with each other. They're not just farming engagement over there.
Well, we don't know what they're exactly doing unless you're reading all of that.
Well, they're not getting any rewards for that farming
not
engagement.
for
but
that
yes.
project, yes.
Yes.
But I will say, yes, absolutely. Like Indonesia, Turkey, South Korea, Ukraine, there are some places where you can see that people are really activated, and I love it. It's fantastic. But absolutely agree. Like, same thing happened with us in the Collab Discord server, where we had a huge influx of Chinese people, which I didn't even know that was possible to do crypto in China. So I don't know how they're doing it, but they are. But we hired a Chinese mod, and we have a Chinese channel, and it's true. It is very, very cool. But one of the ways that you can continue to activate people is having a committed admin mod team that is activating the people. Like, are you having a content calendar? Are you having events where people can get some reward for participating and showing up? Are you growing your leadership from within? We talked about that. Like, you take the people that are making the effort and you start grooming them to go up in leadership. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff that came out of NFT communities. However, when the price goes down, when it's built up so quickly, so fast, which meme coins do have but don't have because it's cheap to get in. So even if it's 10x or 100x, like, there's a lot of people that got it cheap, right? And then you got the people at the top, but you do have to be worried about price action. Like, maybe not on a token that hasn't launched yet, but once it's launched, and we have a lot of communities that launch tokens years ago. And so it's like watching them sustain is a different situation.
Yeah, especially because the thing is, like, the first times that some people know about your project is by the token, and if the token is down, they think the project is
That's right.
not worth it, you know. And to go back also on what you said about vampire attack, kind of. So vampire attack is like when you have a project and you have a big project, you know very well. For example, you have got, I don't know, OpenSea. We had during the NFTs, and every time every other marketplace said, okay, you are trading on OpenSea, come to us, you get rewards. But the thing is, like, most of the time, people just, that's a strategy. The best strategy to do that is like, you keep building on the best marketplace or best product, and you know you get things for a little product who want to build the next kind of new generation of marketplace and everything. But people don't stay; they just jump to the next project, to the next project, to the next project. And the thing to go back on what you said as well is like, I have a lot of stories about people who started as mods, as in a community, and now are working inside the community, at working for the DAO.
That's right.
And
I mean,
because
even
they're
who we
very-
hired came from a community member. I mean, Jyro, who runs Axie Infinity now, he started as a community member, and now he's a co-founder. So the path to growing, yes, starts in community. What a beautiful thing.
And I think we are nearing the end of the panel. So I will ask you this final question, like, what do you think the path for growing communities is? Like, is it gamified experience? Is it like education? Is it like central and like DApp? What's your thought on that?
I think the best way to grow a community is making sure that there is that level of personal investment that people feel when they come in. It can be financial if you're a financial focused community. It can be gamified if you're a playful, engaged community. It can be logistical if you're like a, infrastructure sort of based community, right? But anyone who comes in, whether it's an individual community member, whether it's a partner project you're working with, whether it's a technology you're integrating, there needs to be a reason for those people in those projects to continue to work with you, to collaborate with you. They need to feel like they have agency. They need to feel like they have a voice. And you, as somebody who's trying to grow that community, need to make sure that you show up for them. Wherever they are, whoever they come from, you have to make sure they feel welcome, that they feel like there's a reason to be there, as long as they're not acting maliciously, general good actors. And yeah, then you just continue to engage with them. And if somebody feels like they have a voice, if they feel seen, if they feel engaged with, they're significantly more likely to stick around, not just, through good or bad markets or problems or other issues, but to bring in their friends and those other communities that they're a part of, because they're like, hey, I feel so good in this space. I think you will too.
I'm going to just piggyback off of that a little bit, which is like what I've seen with the NFT communities that are still surviving and thriving. They're the ones that have an honest relationship with their communities. So don't hide from your community. Be honest with your community. Let them know when things are going well, but also let them know when you're eating shit sandwiches. Honestly, you got to just say it. And so that mutual respect, I think, is extremely important. And once you have that and you try to breed a culture of camaraderie where there's respect for each other, this is such a beautiful tool. Honestly, I mean, I often think about like my parents as new immigrants to the US, how they landed somewhere where there were other Indian immigrants, because that was important in a new place where they shared resources and they got jobs together and all of that. And this is kind of what we're building here. We're world building. And so allowing people to join different types of communities and have spaces where they're gathering information and making it a valuable, safe place, I think it's going to be the way it is. And from what we see in Collab, it is.
Agreed. Great takes. I'm gonna say something in addition to that. So this is another like kind of heavy perspective. So I think we're at this point of, it's a major growing pain for community in this whole crypto industry. We're at a point where community is so powerful that the pendulum has swung. Having a strong community is more powerful than having traction and fundamentals right now, which is kind of sad. And so you get into these communities, people are concerned about, how's the community going to grow? How can we get more hype? It's not like back in the day, any one of these token projects, you'd go in the Telegram or Discord and people are like, what new deals were landed lately? Who are the new partners? What are the stats today? And it's like, we've kind of like swung so far because we learned the power of community. Like, does Dogecoin or Dog with Hat have any fundamentals before? No, its fundamental is that a huge community. And I think this is good and we're learning a lot from it, but I also think it's bad. And I think it'll be nice to see the communities will drive this, not the builders. It's frankly, the communities are in control of everything, but they're going to, I think, naturally cave back to this point where they're looking for balance and traction and whatever it is they're doing, right? And so we're at this weird place and I see it every day and I think it's changing. And so anyways, kind of answer your question, but the main point is like community is important and I think it's more important than ever.
Thank you guys. So where can people find your project? If they want to contact you or else, where do you forward them to go? Twitter, Instagram?
You can find PlayFi at playfi.ai. We have our first node license sales for the nodes that'll be running that network that I discussed coming up in about a month. And we have, like I said, an airdrop campaign going on now, so it's a good time to get involved. You can follow me personally. I'm Jyro Blade, JYROBLADE, everywhere. So at Jyroblade or /Jyroblade. And yeah, I'd love to connect with you. If you're a person that has a project or a community that you think would benefit from this kind of data or just wants to work with us, please reach out. We want to be a value add to as many people as possible. So we'd love to hear from you.
Amazing. My name is Anjali Young. You can find me on Twitter and socials under Dama De Roca. It's DAMADEROCA. You can find Collabland at collab.land. And our Twitter account is collab_land_. Thank you.
You can find me at Jack O'Holler on Twitter, which we were having a talk earlier that I maybe need to find a shorter Twitter handle, make it easier to find me. And you can learn about Skale. Go to scale.space, Skale spelled with a K. Join the Twitter, join the Telegram, join the Discord. Big bustling community there, and we'd love to see you there.
Perfect. And thank you to everyone.